Hello everyone, this is Lindsay Wazzola, and in this video I'm going to show you one strategy for getting your app out into the world on GitHub, which will allow users to interact not only with the HTML outputs in your app, but also with the app's source code. So in this tutorial, we're going to be using github.com, which is a platform for sharing and collaborating on open source code projects. If you don't have a GitHub account yet, that's okay. You can still follow along with the video and apply the techniques later. If you prefer to read the material, I've made a detailed written tutorial that's on the course website, and you can consult that if you prefer to read or if you'd like some supplementary information to what's in this video. So we're starting out here on my GitHub homepage, and I'm going to navigate over to my profile. And what we see on my profile is all these repositories, which are all of my GitHub projects. So these are like online directories where I can upload code and work on it and share it with people. So if I click over to the repository tab and see all my repositories again, there's our course workshop. And I'm going to click New, which creates a new repository. And we'll call our new repository Cranes, and we'll give it a really brief description. So we'll give a description of the Shiny app that the repository is going to contain. We'll say this app shows sandhill crane distributions in North America. Next, we have the option to make our app public or private. And of course, we're going to make it public because we want to share it with people. We're going to add a README file, which is a place that we can put metadata and instructions on how to use our project. And we're going to choose a license, which gives conditions for acceptable use. And we'll choose the MIT license, which is a really common one. And the gist of most of these licenses is that they allow people to use your code with appropriate attribution. So with all of our options configured, click Create Repository, and we find ourselves with a blank repository. This README file here, we can edit over here in the README editor, but we can also edit anything in here by using the command line interface or by using the GitHub desktop client, which is what I usually use. But that's all extra stuff, and I will include links to it in the tutorial. But for right now, we just need to admire our empty GitHub repo and think about how we want to fill it with some app files. So I'm going to minimize our GitHub window for a sec, and I'm going to bring up the folder where my app code lives. So this is the folder that you guys have probably seen before, which contains all of my different apps for this course. I'm going to make a new folder in here, and I'm going to call it Screen Share. We'll open that in a new window. And then I'm going to open Crane Game, which is the home directory of the Sandhill Crane app that I shared with everyone back in Module 3. So if I open Crane Game, here's our app.r file, our www folder, which contains all of the images that we use to make the app, and our data folder, which contains all of the data, and our RSConnect folder, which we don't need right now, but that's what contains the information that Shiny uses to host our apps on shinyapps.io. So right now, we're going to copy our app.r file, our www folder, and our data folder. We don't need RSConnect. So we can just click copy, and then we'll come over into our new Crane Share repository, and we'll click paste. So there we go. We've got a copy of Crane Game, so we can close that for the moment. And if I come back out to example apps, I want to do one thing before we continue, which is that I'm going to use 7-zip and make a zipped copy of Crane Share. And this zipped copy is important because sometimes folks are just going to want to download our app source code and play with it and look at examples, which is exactly what we've been doing for all of you in this course. The tricky bit is that GitHub as a platform often doesn't like us to upload files over 25 megabits. So what I'm going to do in this case is host the zipped folder somewhere else and then link to it in that README I showed you. And I'll include a detailed description of how I do that in the written tutorial. But for right now, all you need to know is that we have a zipped version of CraneShare and an unzipped version of CraneShare. And we'll go ahead and open up that unzipped version again. So now I want to come back to my GitHub window, and I'm going to highlight all of this, and then I'm just simply going to drag it and drop it. And we can see all of our files are uploading to GitHub. So once all of our files are uploaded, we're going to come down here and click this Commit Changes button. But first we have the option to make some notes about our commit. And commit is version control speech for when we make a change to one of our repositories. And generally it's good practice to describe what we're doing. So we're going to say uploaded Crane app files. And getting in depth into how version control works is kind of beyond the purview of this course, but I'll include some links to some resources if you want to learn more about it. But for now, all we have to know is that we're going to include a description for our commit, and then we're going to click Commit Changes. All right, and there we go. We have basically what looks exactly like the inside of a Shiny app file folder. We've got our data, our pictures, and our app code. So the really neat thing we can do now is we're going to open a new RStudio window. We've got a blank script here, and we're just going to load Shiny. And we're going to see whether my daring in doing this live for you is paid off. So we're going to use the function run GitHub from Shiny. I'm going to specify that repo equals cranes, which tells Shiny to look for a repository called cranes. Username equals lsw5077, which is my GitHub username. And we're going to say ref equals main, because if you look at our repo, for whatever reason, the branch, they've decided to call them main instead of master now. So that ref is just what the branch is that we're looking for. And again, branch is a version control concept that we're not going to get too deeply into, but just so you know, that's what you're looking for. So we've got repo equals cranes, username equals my username, and ref equals main. And now we're going to run this line. And so now what R is attempting to do is it's attempting to run our app from GitHub. And look at that, it actually paid off for me. So there's our Crane app. Works just like it did before. So this is an important distinction to understand here, is that our app isn't exactly posted on GitHub the same way it is on shinyapps.io. But what we've done here is given everybody a nice, easy way to get to our code. And then Shiny's given us a utility so that we can reach out and run that repository like we would if it's on our computer. So I'll include more details in the README for people who might actually look at this, describing how to access also that zipped file if they want to have offline access, and what packages they'll have to have installed to use the app. But for right now, those are all details, and that's really the essence of how you share app code on GitHub. We had a request to share app code with a DOI, so We will tackle that one in our next video. But I think we'll stop here for the moment. Thanks everyone for listening.